Now, by names, asma', this Quranic term, we mean, of course, not just the linguistic terms for the phenomena of sensed existence, this complex of perceived phenomena into which we've been put, but also their values and their attribution. For a Muslim to give something its name, its true name, is to affirm its correct relationship to its maker and to the created order. Hence, when the human creature, as Khalifa, attributes names to phenomena, metaphor for the whole process of education, the Khalifa thereby affirms his correct relationship to the rest of creation and to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the hierarchy of the knowledges. So when a Muslim, for instance, to take a practical example, refers to warfare as jihad, he or she immediately implies and accepts a framework of revealed morality that relates the event to Allah. When the kafir speaks of war using human language, or when he or she speaks of guerre or krieg or savage or whatever, he or she is accepting, by using that term, a non-revealed man-made system of values. Now the Muslim, by using the names which are the conceptual categories which revelation grants to us for application to ourselves and to the world, is connected to and affirms again the primordial covenant of Alastu bi Rabbikum. And we could say that the core of all of these names, and hence the essence of the Islamic understanding of education, and the core of their acquisition, their learning, and their application to make sense of the world around us, is remembering that primordial moment, remembering the One Himself, the source of our being, without whose light we ourselves as shadows could not even momentarily exist. So the first step of Islamic education has to be that knowledge, taking it right back to our first moment as conscious differentiated beings on the day of Alastu bi Rabbikum. That's the first ingredient in our humanity. And the ulama have agreed upon this. This is the first thing that we must do. We must know. Unless we know, with a capital N, where we come from, the first principle of Tawheed, no other knowledge can be anything other than the affirmation of a plurality, of the absolutizing of multiplicity, and hence a form of shirk. So Imam al-Laqani, for instance, says, وَاجْزِمْ بِأَنَّ أَوَّلًا مِمَّا يَجِبْ مَعْرِفَةٌ وَفِيهِ خُلْفٌ مُنْتَصِبٌ. Be certain, know for sure, that the first obligation is knowledge. And concerning this, there are different opinions amongst the ulama. In other words, knowledge of what precisely? But knowledge, the first obligation. Jalaluddin Rumi, again, if I can cite him, puts it this way. It's quite a long, I think, very beautiful quote from him, which really sums up what I'm getting at. There is one thing in this world which must never be forgotten. If you forget everything else but not this one thing, then in the end you may have no fear. But if you carry out and remember all things except this one thing, you have done nothing at all. There's a difference between the believer and the unbeliever. The unbeliever knows everything except the indispensable, and hence his knowledge is ashes, blown about by the wind, like his actions, no better than his actions. And yet the Muslim, however muqassir, however great may be his shortcomings, nonetheless, if he holds firmly, sincerely to that awareness of where he comes from and of the underlying unity of the world, of the source of the world, لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. No fear, no grief. And then Imam Jalaluddin Rumi, Qaddasallahu sirrahu, goes on to say, he quotes, Allah says, لَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي Adam. We have ennobled the children of Adam. And he says, Allah did not say we have ennobled the heavens and the earth. So man is able to perform that task which the heavens and the earth, the mountains, are not able to perform. Famous Quranic image. And when man performs that task, he will no longer be zaluman jahula, unjust, very foolish. This is the verse that begins, Inna aradna al-amanata ala samawati wal-ardi wal-jibali. We offered the amana, the trust, to the heavens and the earth and the mountains. فَأَشْفَقْنَا مِنْهَا, and they were afraid of this amana. But who carried it? فَحَمَلَهَا الْإِنسَانِ, human being carried it, this trust. إِنَّهُ كَانَ ظَلُومًا جَهُولًا, truly he was ever unjust, unbalanced, ignorant. Then he goes on to say, this is Imam Jalaluddin, if you say, though I do not perform that task, holding the amana, which is knowledge of Allah and Tawheed, and hence becoming the Khalifa in the earth, though I don't perform that task, I perform so many other tasks. This is the claim of modern man. Then know that man was not created for those other tasks. It is just as if you took a priceless sword of Indian steel, like those found in the treasuries of kings, and made of it a cleaver for rotten meat, saying, I'm not letting the sword stand idle. I perform so many useful tasks with it. Or if you were to take a golden bowl and cook turnips in it, whereas for a single grain of that gold you could buy 100 pots. Or you have made a knife of pure Damascus ware into a nail on which to hang a broken gourd, saying, I'm making good use of this thing. I hang a gourd on it. I'm not letting that blade go to waste. But that's exactly what we are doing with ourselves, with our minds, our spirits, and our bodies, if we preoccupy ourselves with the endless smaller knowledges, the tafasil of creation, and ignore what is fundamental, which is the meaning and the source of all of those knowledges. Now,